and Craig Smoak.
Max Olson, theathletic.com, with us for the next 13 or 14 minutes or so. Max, thanks for your time. We read Nicole Auerbach, and she talked about various transfers. It seems like it's about to be unlimited based on a few things, I guess, that have to happen. Let's talk about the windows first. You had this yesterday as well with the Division I Council's recommendation. Windows from December 5th to the 18th and May 1st to May 15th. How much would that change from what we have seen, at least for the last couple of years?
Yeah, this is, I think, on the coaching side and administrative side of things, you know, their belief is they want to put windows in because they don't like this environment where, you know, as you guys know, a kid can enter the portal any day of the week, you know, any time of the year, right? And so they want to restrict this to a shortened period of kind of these recruiting periods here for these guys, where, you know, when the regular season's over, it'd be the Monday after, you know, Selection Sunday for CFP and Bulls. The transfer portal window opens up, and players all go in. Now those players can make their commitments anytime they want. They don't need to make commitments before the end of the transfer window, but they're trying to, you know, restrict those in-season transfers. They're trying to help these coaches kind of solidify their rosters for January through April, and then you'll have another round of it in May after spring ball. You know, it's going to be a big adjustment for these coaching staffs because that's a lot of names hitting the portal all at once. I mean, certainly we saw in this cycle that's 2,000 scholarship players that went in the portal, and if we're going to make you know, the one-time transfer exception we're going to kill that too, then that number could go up. So it's going to be a lot of players becoming available at once, and your recruiting staff better be ready for it because you have to make some decisions there, certainly in December and January, with just so many players becoming available at one time.
Max, the other part of it is now they've just decided, instead of having countless hearings over why you need to go to your third school, just skip that part. Do you think that's more just fatigue of the fact that they don't really win those things anyway?
Yeah, you know, I think honestly on that one, I think that's kind of more like the men's basketball environment is kind of to blame for that a little bit. You guys have seen it with some of these guys that somehow have played for, you know, 5 schools in 5 years and stuff like that. Those are extreme examples, obviously, but yeah, you know, certainly I don't think anyone's really been discouraged so far. You've had in this cycle, you've had guys that are transferring a second time and trying to do so as grad transfers. They're all getting waivers. Yeah, the waiver process is just, no matter what they do, there's people trying to apply for them. So yeah, that kind of thinking that we've had maybe for the last year or so of like, okay, well, he transferred, so that was just his one. Like, that's just not going to be the case. And so, you know, that's going to make all this stuff way more transactional. I think from like the player rights standpoint, you kind of get why they go in that direction. But, you know, if that passes, and I'm sure there's going to be some opposition to that before they go to the vote, but if that passes, then you're living in a sport where everybody's on a one-year deal.
Which is exactly what coaches did not want, basically, right? I mean, the big complaint we've heard this offseason is the most recruiting is going on recruiting your own roster, and these rules just make that even more of a priority, right?
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, I think that, like, I think we're going to probably get to this point. I've talked about this with you guys before, but, you know, does that mean we're going to start heading in this direction where you also see coaches kind of maybe taking away scholarships from guys and or not extending another, you know, a year and stuff like that? Like, are we going to see like a little bit more cuts and stuff because of the way this is going? I really don't know. It's the roster management piece. You hear people say it over and over, but it's just going to get a little bit crazier every year probably with the way this stuff is heading. And, you know, I think that's one of those deals where culturally, like if you're doing things the right way, hopefully you don't have a huge problem with this. But I mean, you know, this last year we talked about these deadlines when you had to go in and stuff like that. And, you know, I think now you're going to tighten that window, but at the same time, I don't know. There's a part of it I do wonder, like, are there going to be guys that just, like you guys saw the Charlie Brewer situation last year, right?
Yep.
Like, are there going to be some guys that just leave a team during the season and their name won't pop up till December, but we all know they're in the portal? I'm curious how much people actually sort of save that move till December versus we just have to kind of keep track of who's going to transfer later on.
Max, so the coaches want a little bit more to be able to buttonhole this up, and yet they're the ones guilty of tampering with other players on other teams, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, I mean, these kind of rule changes, they are good for coaches in solving the problem that they claim they have in terms of, it being frustrating that someone could just leave your program at any time. But there's no question. I think as we get, if we set windows here, then that's going to be pretty hot and heavy there, you think, in November, of people kind of tampering and trying to say, hey, I think you should go in the portal. And if you're not happy there, you're not getting your touches, you're not getting enough snaps, whatever, then you should go in the portal. And I think that we certainly have not done anything, as much as some of these NCAA changes, might affect the transfer environment. We haven't done anything to actually add more policing to tampering or any of that kind of stuff. So, there's going to be plenty of that. And if guys can transfer as many times as they want, then really what's stopping anybody from taking, a little bit more money somewhere else or just believing that they can get more playing time somewhere.
Max, we're into week 3 of what's going to happen to the Pac-12, everyone in college football's favorite soap opera right now. Do you think anything is even remotely close to imminent? I mean, we talked to Mac Rhodes yesterday. He kind of said the Big 12's plan is act or be acted upon. Not kind of said exactly what he said, act or be acted upon, but there's still some factors out in the water that would lead you to believe that nothing is close to being really acted upon yet.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the Big 12's mentality on this is pretty well established. They're going to go after these schools, or they're in the process of going after them. The question, right, obviously, is like, what's the timetable? And what's the likelihood that they can pull that off? I think that probably a key detail in all of this is just what is the feedback that the Pac-12 gets from ESPN and Fox in the 30-day window for the start of their TV rights negotiations. And if that's discouraging, I mean, I think that's a piece of data that these schools and these leaders all need. What are we looking at in terms of this next TV deal, and what's our exposure here in terms of the hit we're going to take without USC and UCLA? I think that that 30-day window is supposed to end, I believe, early August here, but I'm sure they could get that information sooner than that. I'm sure you need to kind of do your homework on what the financial situation really is, because at the end of the day, as one person told me this week, it's not like the Big 12 is going to charm them into coming. It's all about money. It's about what is ESPN backing in terms of what they see as the best outcome for the Pac-12 and Big 12. And I think that piece of it, that's kind of the mystery here that's got to get solved if the Big 12 is going to be able to raid the Pac-12, or if those schools are staying put.
Max, if I asked you just an X's and O's question, or a team and how good they might be, or who might win the Heisman, would you faint?
Oh, I'd love that. You might actually stump me though, just because how much time we've really spent talking about it.
Well, I got to tell you, I was asking that question, realizing I don't even know what the hell I'd ask you right now, because I haven't really thought about much of all that. But I don't know. Your thoughts about the media days are wrapping up. I know the Pac-12's down the road, and others, the ACC and SEC are wrapping up. Did anything from outside of the Big 12, anything at all, kind of just maybe catch your attention more than something else?
Yeah, it's funny. I might probably mention this last week, but you feel a little bad that that the comments from the commissioners and ADs and stuff like that is kind of overshadowing the actual media days here in terms of what the coaches and players have to say, because at some point we all collectively need to actually move on to August here and fall camp and actually getting ready for all that. So I think even this week, people were just really more on high alert for what Greg Sankey and Jim Phillips had to say about their respective situations and their conferences. But no, nothing crazy team wise. I really genuinely hope that this stuff can kind of go on the shelf here at some point, and we can actually kind of get deep into previewing the season, because I just feel like this has been one of those summers where there's so many issues and news stories and stuff that pop up that I don't know if any of us feel super prepared for start of September here.
Do you believe Jim Phillips when he says that he would vote the same way about the playoff as he did last year?
Oh, I don't know. I think that, I think the issue that the folks that wanted to get it passed had was more with Kevin Warren than with Jim Phillips, I suppose. But, I think that, there's no doubt that conversation, and Greg Sankey made that clear this week, but it's going to be a different conversation in the fall or in the next time they get together to actually meet about expansion, because I'm of the opinion that, they had an opportunity to get Greg Sankey to compromise on a model that, while it was good for the SEC, to protect the conference championships, was probably a model that all those conferences need. And to get the top 6 in, I thought was a pretty good solution to all of it. So when it's time for that conversation to happen again, is Greg Sankey and Kevin Warren, are they going to be in favor of a model that has 5 or 6 conference champions, some AQs in it? I don't know. I think they probably would be, more looking for, as much as this playoff needs more access, obviously, I imagine they want as many at-large bids as possible. So that whole conversation is going to be really different. And that's another one that, Brett Yormark has to get studied up on and get ready for.
Max, I know you got to go, buddy. We appreciate your time when we can get it. See you. It was great to see you in Arlington. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Max Olson, theathletic.com, with us on 365 Sports, Sikkim 365 Radio.